So we'll just start her up. Starts up perfectly as it should. Engine's running really nicely. I don't know if you heard that chunk sound, but that was the sound of the aircon compressor kicking in, the clutch working. So I know the clutch works, but already the electric fans have come on. Well, the engine's cold. There's no reason for the fans to come on. And if I go back into the car, even though the air conditioning says it's on, it's churning out warm air. It's not cooling it. It should be coming out at 18. Put it down onto low. There is no air conditioning. Okay, that didn't work. So the next thing I'm going to try is the self-tester. And to do that, you're supposed to press in the trip button and turn it to key position 2. And then the self-test should come up on there. Let's see if that works. The test sequence came up and I've scrolled slowly through it and it's come to this where it says DTC E510. So I'm going to have to find out what that means. There's another one, DTC 879. A879, DTC 9202, DTC 900, E all the zeros, and that's back to the start gauge. Well, I appear to have fixed this problem. After reading the code off of the gauge, I went back onto the internet and I found someone who said, why don't you test if all the blending doors are working? Well, I've actually already done this several times, but I followed exactly what they said, which was firstly select full low, then select full high, and that actually goes up to something like 35 degrees before it gets to high. Oh, I think it's there, high. Select full high, and you can start to feel that starting to warm up. Select full low, that's coming out cool again. I wouldn't say that was freezing cold, but that is pretty cool. Then it says select face. That's already on face. Select floor. And I can feel the air going down to the bottom of the car and blowing my legs. And just, it doesn't actually say this, but I selected both just to see what happens. And then select defrost, which sets it at 17 degrees through the top here, and I can feel that that is pretty cool. I seem to have repaired it. I hope this is a permanent repair. Turn the defrost off, go back to low, on full. It's on air recirculation. As it's really hot outside, I think that's probably a good idea. Dragging in 22 degrees is probably not a good idea. I think I fixed it. Better do a reprise of all the other things I did before I got to this point. A couple of days ago, when I went to pick my car up from its MOT, they told me it had passed, but they'd flattened the battery and it was on charge. Now 2 days later, the battery is completely dead and the little charge light, the little telltale, has no light in it. It won't hold any charge and the car won't start. So I've duly sent off for a new one. I've fitted the new one, and now I find that my air conditioning has gone absolutely crazy. It blows hot air all the time, so I need to find out what's happened. This is the driver's handbook that came with the car, and on page 619, roadside emergency, it has a diagram of the fuse boxes. The big rectangular one is the one in the glove box, and the trapezoidal one is the one under the bonnet. Now, I've marked this up, and the fuse for the air conditioning is fuse number 23. They were too lazy to fill in every one. And the aircon relay is relay number 6. So I need to take this diagram with me out to the car, check the fuse, and then take the relay out, leave it for 30 seconds and put it back in. Now if you look in the lid, there's a diagram, and the fuse is actually F23, but I only know this because I've looked in the book, and the relay is relay R6, which is on here somewhere. Where is it? It's that one. So looking on here, we need to count down to the 4th one, which is a 10, and then look for the relay, which is that one there, and check them both and take them out. So using the little extractor that comes in the case, well, there's nothing wrong with that fuse. So what we do is we take this out. This is the air conditioning relay. Take that out slowly, and leave it for 30 seconds. Well, I've actually left that for more like 2 or 3 minutes because I decided to go off and have a break. We'll put the fuse back in, and we'll put this back in, make sure it goes in the right way round, and that just gently pushes all the way down. I'll just put the cover back on before I start the car. The idea is you leave it for at least 3 minutes with the air conditioning turned off for it to recalibrate. How you know it's done that, I don't know. We'll just leave it for 3 minutes. Okay, I've let it run for about 5 minutes now, and you can see that the engine from cold is up on the quarter segment. It's actually a really hot day here in England. It's about 23 degrees, so that's probably warm enough, that's probably long enough. I'm going to see what happens if I turn the air conditioning back on. I've got it on low, on auto and on AC. Coming out of that, but I suppose that's in the system. Let's just leave it to run for a while. Well, it's been running for about 2 or 3 minutes now, and it does not seem that it's worked. It's still chucking out hot air. You can see the exterior temperature is 23, and I think that's what it's pumping out at the moment. But I'm going to leave it to run for a bit longer, and then maybe just try the same trick again. Well, I've connected up my OBD2, and I'm going to see what this does. See if I've got any codes in there. Okay, well, the first reset hasn't worked. It didn't make any difference at all. So I've tried resetting it again by taking the relay out, and I've let it sit still idling away for 6 minutes, and the engine temperature's come up to full. So I have seen it written somewhere that I ought to drive it for 10 miles. So I'm going to give it a drive round for 10 miles. Pulling the relay and the fuse out hasn't made any difference, so I know I'm going to do a hard reset. And basically what you do is you disconnect the negative terminal, and you're supposed to touch it to the positive terminal. And this has been made in such a way that that's not possible. So I'm going to have to undo the positive terminal as well. Now the idea is that you touch the negative terminal to the positive terminal and discharge all the energy in the system, and this performs a hard reset on the ECU and all the other systems. So let's hope that works. I'm just going to hold them together with a cable tie. Right, they're tight together with a cable tie. I'm going to leave that for 5 minutes. I'm not sure if that makes any difference. And then reconnect. This is the dead battery that I had to take off it, and I put it back on a charger, and you can see now that it is now as charged as it's going to be. This is about good enough to give you one turnover to start the car, but if what I'm doing now doesn't do the job, I'm going to put this back on and see if that actually corrects it. And if it does correct it, it means the battery that I've got, the new one, isn't any good and I'll have to replace it. When you disconnect the radio, it will ask you for the code. So I've got my code written on a piece of paper telling me how to set the clock. So I just put the code in, and it says welcome back online. The clock is now wrong, so you have to reset the clock. That's in another video. Car started up happily. The trip meter's reset to 0. Let's see what happens when we turn the aircon on. So that says 23 degrees, that's pretty high, so we'll bang that down. I can hear the clutch kicking in from the aircon, so I know that works. But this doesn't feel good because this is warm air coming through it, and it's moist warm air as well. So I've now put enough charge in the old battery to restart the car, reconnect it all, and now I'm going to see what happens. So power on. There's still maximum temperature coming out of there. That hasn't made any difference either. Okay, that didn't work, so the next thing I'm going to try is the self-tester, and to do that you're supposed to press in the trip button and turn it to key position 2, and then the self-test should come up on there.